Protests erupted across Turkey on Friday as thousands rallied against the arrest of Istanbul's Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu, a rising opposition leader and potential presidential candidate. The protests, which drew large crowds in cities such as Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir, have become the largest demonstrations in Turkey since the last decade, underscoring the escalating political tensions ahead of the 2028 presidential elections. In Istanbul's Sarakne Park, located just outside the city's administration building, opposition leader Özgür Özel told the crowd that around 210,000 people had gathered to protest Imamoglu's arrest. He pointed out that the growing momentum of the rallies, noting that earlier protests on the 19th and 20th of March had attracted 120,000 and 160,000 people respectively. The protests have been sparked by the controversial arrest of Imamoglu, who was detained earlier in the week on charges of corruption and alleged links to terrorist organizations. Critics argue that the arrest is politically motivated, aimed at removing a key rival to Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in the upcoming presidential race. Rallies in support of Imamoglu were not limited to Istanbul. Thousands of people took to the streets in Ankara, where a demonstration in Güven Park was addressed by Ankara's opposition mayor Mansur Yavaş. Meanwhile, in Izmir and other cities across Turkey, protesters marched in solidarity with Imamoglu, calling for his release and demanding government accountability. While the protests largely remained peaceful, sporadic clashes broke out in several cities, including Istanbul and Izmir. In those instances, police used tear gas, pepper spray, and water cannons to disperse crowds. Some of the more aggressive protesters were detained, and images from the scene showed tense standoffs between demonstrators and law enforcement. According to Turkey's Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya, at least 97 people were detained nationwide during the protests. Imamoglu was arrested early on Wednesday morning at his home in Istanbul in a dramatic raid by the police. He faces accusations of corruption and alleged links to the Kurdistan Workers' Party, which is a group designated as a terrorist organization by Turkey and its allies. Imamoglu has denied the charges, calling them baseless. After being detained for several hours, Imamoglu was questioned by police before being expected to face prosecutors in court. His arrest, just days before he was set to be nominated as the opposition Republican People's Party candidate for president in 2028, has deepened concerns that the ruling government is attempting to eliminate a powerful challenger. Analysts speculate that if Imamoglu is convicted or formally charged, he could be removed from office with a trustee mayor potentially appointed in his place. The government has rejected accusations that the legal actions against opposition figures are politically motivated, insisting that Turkey's judiciary operates independently. President Erdogan has firmly opposed the protests, accusing the opposition of fomenting unrest and associating them with corruption and terrorism. He warned that the government would not tolerate street demonstrations, calling on security forces to suppress any gatherings. His remarks came after authorities imposed a 5-day ban on protests in both Ankara and Izmir, following similar restrictions in Istanbul. Imamoglu's arrest comes just days before the opposition CHP is set to hold a primary to choose its presidential candidate for 2028. The primary, which is expected to involve around 1.5 million delegates, will proceed as planned, according to Özel. In a show of solidarity with Imamoglu, the CHP has also organized a symbolic election process across Turkey, allowing citizens to vote through makeshift ballot boxes in support of the detained mayor. Meanwhile, Özel also announced plans for an extraordinary party congress on the 6th of April to ensure that the ruling government does not interfere with the CHP's leadership. This move comes amid concerns that authorities may annul the party's last congress held in 2023 over allegations of vote buying and other irregularities. As protests continue across Turkey, the political landscape remains volatile. Ekrem Imamoglu's arrest has galvanized widespread opposition, with demonstrations planned for the coming days. The protests have underscored the deepening divide between the government and its critics, and the situation is likely to escalate further as the 2028 presidential election approaches.